Okay, I'm going to go over 6 through 10 on your review sheet. We did 1 through 5 earlier, and I'm going to do 6 through 10. Remember, it's very important that you show your work for problems that require it. If I'm doing something, make sure that you are also doing something on your paper. Again, if you don't have enough room in the boxes on the review sheet, just use another piece of paper and you can staple it when you turn it in. Okay, let's look at number 6. Number 6 uh, is 4/10 equals x over 100. Okay, so they do not give us the numerator in this problem, so we have to try to figure out what that numerator is, what the x is. Okay, so let's look at this a little closer here. Okay, these are very easy to solve. When you have a problem like this, you look for what you have that is the same. So in this problem, we have a denominator of 10 in this fraction, and then we have our denominator here in this fraction. Up here, we don't have the same. We don't know what x is. Okay? So we look at our denominators, and I ask myself, 10 times what number? 10 times what number will give me 100? Okay? And I know that 10 times 10, okay, I'm just going to put these in parentheses so I don't confuse you here. I know 10 times 10 equals 100. So the rule is whatever I do to the denominators, I have to do to the numerator. So since I multiplied this by 10 to get 100, I have to multiply this by 10, and that will give me x. And that's the work that you will have to do on your own. So again, the rule is whatever you have it that is the same, figure out what you can multiply the number by to get to the denominator. In this case, I know 10 times 10 is 100. So up here in the numerator, I'm going to multiply my numerator 4 times 10, and that will give me this numerator here. Okay? Let's look at number 7. Number 7 says choose the measure of this angle. Choose the best estimate. So you don't have to measure it. We just have to estimate what would be the best estimate. Okay, and they say 120 degrees, 30 degrees, 90 degrees, and 60 degrees. Okay, so let's look at this one a little bit closer. Let's do a quick review of angles. Okay, let's look up here at the first one, the right angle. Okay, a right angle almost looks like a perfect L, and it'll usually have that little symbol in it that will tell you that it is a right angle. So it's 90 degrees. So whenever you see an angle like that, it's like a perfect L. It's 90 degrees. Okay, and it's a right angle. From that, I'm just going to show you here with these pens. So if that's a right angle, okay, if I open this angle up at all, it becomes more than 90. Because remember, this is 90 degrees, okay? And if I open it up just a little bit, it becomes obtuse because it's more than 90. And I can keep going with it, I can keep going with it, I can keep going with it, etc. Okay? So I'm just opening up a right angle. Okay? So that's 90 degrees. That's obtuse, and it's more than 90. Now the last one you'll see is less than 90, and it's acute. So again, I go back to my right angle as a reference, and if I close a right angle at all, it is an acute angle. Okay? So again, a right angle is 90 degrees. So if I close it at all, anything less than 90 is acute. So 80, 70, 60, 50, etc. Okay? So looking at this angle here, which is similar to what you have on your review sheet, you have to ask yourself, would it be a right angle, would it be obtuse, or would it be acute? Okay? And once you determine that, you can it'll give you a better idea because you know this is not a 90-degree angle. And since you know it's not a 90-degree angle, it's less than 90 because they closed it. So to get that angle, they've taken this and they have closed it. Okay? So we know it's not more than 90. So you choose what you think would be the best estimate. So again, the estimate would be that they give you 120 degrees, 30 degrees, 90 degrees, or 60 degrees. Okay? All right, let's look at the next one. A rectangular table has an area of 42 square feet. The width is 3 feet. What is the length of the table? Okay? So let's look at this one. Okay, so we had a problem just like this on last week's review sheet. So they give us the they already give us the area. The area is 42 square feet. They give us the width, which is 3 feet. We need to determine what this number is. Okay, we don't know this number. But I do know if I have this number and this number, I multiply those two together to get this number. Okay, that's how we find area. So this time, this is missing, but they give us the total area. So again, just like on last week's review sheet, you need to divide 42 by 3. Okay? And again, once you do that, you will find out the missing length there. Just make sure you label. Once you get your answer after you do the division problem. Okay? All right. Number 9, it says what type of angle is formed by the hands on the clock? So again, this one should be pretty easy if you go back to what we talked about earlier. Is it a right angle, is it an obtuse angle, or is it an acute angle? Okay? What type of angle would that be? And that one's pretty clear. Right angle, acute, or obtuse. All right, and the last one, number 10. Kimmy is 16 years old and her mother is 44 years old. How many years ago was Kimmy's mother 5 times as old as Kimmy? Okay? So, what I'm going to do here is just set up a table. And the key that I'm looking for as I go through this is I'm looking for two numbers where one is 5 times as much as the other. And we know we start off with Kimmy being 16 and the mother being 44 years old. Okay? So, basically, just to think about, they're saying to get this answer, what number can I multiply Kimmy's age by 5? I can multiply it by 5 and it fall within this number here. So for example, if I multiplied 16 times 5 in this problem, in this set right here, it would be 80 years old. So that's not going to work at all. So I'm just going to decrease each time. So when she was 15 years old, the mother was 43 years old. Okay? And again, if I wanted to, I could do 15 times 5. And that would have to be at least 75 years old, and that's not going to work as well. So I know I'm pretty far off. So I'm going to go 14 years old, 42 years old, and I'm not going to do this for each one because I know I'm pretty far off. 13 years old, she would have been 41 years old. 12 years old, she would have been 40 years old. So I'll just do a quick check here. If I multiply 12 times 5, that's 10. That's still 60. I'm still a ways off from it falling within, because this number has to be within this number here. So when she was 11 years old, she would have been 39. When Kimmy was 10, mother would have been 38. So if I do this one, well, I'll tell you what, when she was 9 years old, she would have been 37. So again, if I do 9 times 5 here, that's 45. It's still a little off. She was 8 years old. She would have been 36. When she was 7 years old, she would have been 35. Okay? So I want you to determine which one, when I multiply by 5, would be 5 times as old. Okay? And I'm not going to do that for you. But once you get there, all you have to do is count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, you're going to count to see how many years ago that would have been. Okay, so we're starting at 16. This is where we started. And then each year, so once you figure out which one this is 5 times as old, then you would just count over how many that would be. Okay? All right. That's 1 through 10 on this review sheet. Again, make sure you show your work and have it done for Tuesday pre-check.